third grade, and welcome back to school this week. Today we are going to be starting Chapter 8 in Math, which is on all different kinds of measurement. Now today, all we're going to be looking at are inches, half inches, and quarter inches. So what we're going to be doing is pretty much what you see on this page is your seesaw page, okay? So this is the page from the book that is here to help you and that we're going to look at right now. Okay, so if you look here, before you begin on the website, on our website, it tells you that you need to gather some things. You need to have an inch ruler, a ruler, usually like a foot long ruler, a 12-inch ruler, or smaller. That's fine. If you have one of those littler ones, that's okay too. But you need something that has inches, half inches, and quarter inches marked on it. And you can see here, that's what we're going to be working with. We're going to be working with the inches, which are the red numbers. Those are the whole inches. Then when you split it in half, you have half inches. So here's 1/2, 1 whole, 1 1/2, 2 whole, 2 1/2. The green are the halves, okay? And then quarter inches. Quarter inches are 1/4. So if you look in this inch, there are 2 half inches in every inch. 1, 2. But that's what this 2 is going to tell you, right? But the quarter inch, there's 4. 1/4. This would be actually 2/4. 1/4, 2/4, and then 3/4 and 4/4. So there are 4/4. There's your 4 in a quarter in an inch. There are 4/4 in an inch, just like there's 4/4 in a dollar, right? That's what that means. Quarters, 4. So that's what we're going to be using, those units to measure length today. The inch, the quarter inches, and the half inches, okay? Now, when we take items and we measure them, the first thing we need to do is always, always, always line it up to the edge of your ruler, the beginning of your ruler. Don't line it up to the 1. You don't want to start at 1 because you've lost that whole inch. You need to start it at 0, and that's where the end of the ruler is, that edge. Okay, the beginning of the ruler is 0. That's where you want to start it. Okay, so some measures aren't exact, so we need to give to the nearest. Okay, so if we look at this crayon, here's this crayon. We can see that, ooh, it kind of falls a little past this black line. And this black line is it's a 1/2, but oh wait, it's not just a half, it's 3 1/2. So the crayon is about 3 1/2 inches long, okay? And we'd read it, 3 1 1/2, 3 1/2 inches, okay? And you see how they lined it up to the edge. You have to line it up to the edge of the ruler, because if you lined it up here, you'd be losing this whole inch. Okay, and you'd get it up here, which would be like 4 1/2, and that would not be correct. So always remember, when you're using your ruler, line things up to the edge of the ruler, the beginning edge. We look at this little pink eraser. They lined it up here to the edge, and we measured it out. It comes to this 1/4, but it's not 1/4 inch. It's 1 1/4. So we'd read it 1 1/4. Okay, so what I want you to do is you are going to need to find 5 objects from home. And if you watched my morning message, which you should have, it told you about that. Okay, it also told you on our website that you were going to need 5 objects, not big objects. Pencils, pens, crayons, a pair of glasses, a remote control, an eraser, a cup, thing of hand sanitizer, whatever. Things that aren't huge, but like a pillow would be probably, unless it's a small pillow, would be too big. A car would be too big, okay? But other than that, and you don't want it to be too tiny. You don't want it to be like a crumb. So you want it to be somewhere in between. Ooh, noisy computer. Okay, so you're going to need to have those 5 objects. And so you're going to first click on here and you'll be able to type what that is. So if I put a remote for my first one, I'll take my remote and I'll click here and I'm going to measure it to the nearest 1/4 inch. So my remote, when I measured, is 4 and 1 about 4 1/4 inch. Now, how I write this, because I can't write my fraction the same way as I did here. So what I do is my 4 and then a space and then my 1/4. That's 4 1/4. If you feel like you need a little more space in there, I don't know, I can't get my, yeah, you could, no, you don't want to do that. That would be working fine. To your nearest 1/2 inch, okay, ooh, it's closer to 4. And putting that is always good. Putting your labels, excuse me, putting your labels there. And if this would be, and you're going to have some that are going to be the same. Okay, because the nearest 1/2 inch was 4 inch and the nearest inch was 4 inch. So you're going to do that for 5 objects. Okay, and you're going to type in each box. Then you're going to come over to these worksheets. Here, you already have a ruler, so you can put your ruler and your objects away. You're going to just use this ruler. Oh, this one does not have things marked on it, but let's see. Remember what we learned over here? The half is obviously halfway between. So, in the quarters, there's 4 of them. So these little bit longer lines would be 1/2 inch. So that would be a 1/2 inch, 1 1/2 inch, 2 1/2 inch. And the smallers are quarters. So this is 1/4. This one's 3/4, just like over here. So if we were to measure this paper clip to the nearest 1/2 inch, well, here's 1, and then there's a 1/2. So we would put in here, it is 1 1/2 inches. Okay, we can type right in there. And same for here, but we're doing 1/4. Okay, oh, this has a lot more lines, so let's not get too confused. I know it is a little confusing when there's more lines, but I want you to try it. We see our 1 inch, here's our 1/2 inch, this longer one, and then these little bit shorter, not the real short ones, those are our quarters. So there's the 1/4, there's 3/4. So if we're to measure this, it's about, well, if we look at that, this was 1/4 here, this is 1/2, this one's 3/4. So it's about 3/4 inch. And that would be how we would measure these. So this is what I want you to work on today. Use this as your reference. And if you need help with the ruler, check this out over here again. This will be your guide to it. And then use your ruler that you have at home and find some objects to measure. Then measure them to the nearest 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and inch. Then fill out these worksheets. And you can see we already did 2 together here, so that will be a little bit easier for you. What I would like you to do tomorrow when we meet, we're going to have a Zoom tomorrow, and what we're going to be working on tomorrow is we're going to be working with inches, feet, and yards. So I want you to have some of these objects, and we're going to talk about them. Okay, so maybe 1 or 2 of your objects that you measured today. Tomorrow, what I want you to do is have those, or at least have your information somewhere. We'll talk about how you did measuring those, and maybe you could show us how you measured them. Okay, I know it's hard for me to see your ruler, but we'll work together tomorrow to get through that. Okay, so if you have any questions about any of this, you know how to get in touch with me. Hopefully, this is not too difficult. I think that you can figure this all out. Just be careful with the 1/4 inches and the 1/2 inches. That's pretty much it. Okay. Well, good luck with working on this, and I will be seeing you and talking to you tomorrow. We'll go over some of this and we'll move on to feet and yards in measurement tomorrow. Talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye.